say, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Screen Time Continuum. I am Nick, and I am joined with the gentleman, as always, Keelan. How do you do?
Can't complain, brother. How you feeling?
All right, not too bad. We're all having technical difficulties this Sunday evening, so we're going audio only here. We got Mike here too. What's going on, man?
What it do?
Hey, it does. It does indeed. And
Yeah. Everybody gonna F around and find out.
Yes, indeed they are. And I hope it does for you all out there. Whenever you're listening to this, thank you for tuning in this evening. If you enjoy our content, please feel free to hit that like button and that subscribe button. We're trying to build out our audience. We can't do that without your help. So if you feel like supporting us, hit that like, hit that subscribe, and leave a comment. If you're here in the live, you can also leave a comment in the chat, and we will probably respond to it. Tonight, we are going to be talking about a Netflix movie called Paradise, which came out in 2023. It is directed by Boris Kuntz, Thomas Johnsgarden, and Indra Jaskuti. And it's written by Simon Amberg, Peter Kosila, Boris Kuntz, and it stars Lisa Marie Carroll, Dalila Abdullah, and Numan Akar.
I'm almost sure that's Delilah. We could say.
I was about to say the same thing.
Huh?
I'm sure that's Delilah. We could say it.
Delilah? Is it?
Oh yeah.
I think it Delilah. Maybe.
Okay.
Anyways, the synopsis for this movie is: after his wife is forced to give up 40 years of her life as payment for an insurance debt, a man desperately searches for a way to get back at them. And yeah, I think that's a fair enough analysis. This is a German film, I believe.
Thought
right?
so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was dubbed. Yeah, it came out July 27th, and it's from Germany. And yeah. So, and it was filmed in Lithuania. So that's kind of cool. This is sort of a sci-fi drama. There are some things that we're going to be talking about here. If you haven't seen it, we're going to give you a spoiler warning just in case, because I think it is still trending on Netflix, maybe, or it was just recently. Yeah. So spoiler warning, if you haven't seen Paradise on Netflix, go check it out and come back to this episode and hear what we have to say about it. First impressions, gentlemen. Yeah. Where are we at with this one? Keelan, how'd you feel?
I didn't dislike it. There are some elements of this movie that made me that had me very entertained and reeled in, and there were other elements of this movie that felt like, every other movie that you've seen that incorporates future aspects and how all of that goes. Didn't dislike it, but I'm not really sure how to discuss it yet. But we're gonna get there through this episode.
Fair enough. Yeah, Mike, what did you think? First impressions?
I didn't like it. I honestly didn't like it, and I was trying to figure out why I didn't like it, and I don't have a legitimate reason. I just don't like it.
Well, that's good. That creates some friction, so that should be a good episode.
Yeah, because I figured we would kind of get into it, and maybe we could hash out why I don't like it. But for some reason, I didn't like it within the first 20 minutes. And I was joking about it kind of a little bit with Keelan earlier, and I was like, I kept expecting Justin Timberlake to walk around one of the corners with his little time bracelet on.
Right.
But not that the movies are actually similar or that similar, but I don't know, man. I didn't like it.
Wasn't for you. All right. Well, we'll see if you change your mind throughout this conversation, or if
I hope so.
Or if you change our minds. I don't know where we're at exactly yet, but my first impressions were, I don't know if I didn't dislike the movie, but to be honest, I think it's about 35 minutes too long. If it had a runtime of about an hour 30, an hour 40, that would have been probably the sweet spot for me. I also found the dubbing acting and the voice acting kind of lackluster. and it almost kind of took me a little bit out of the drama of it all. But I didn't necessarily think it was bad per se. I just don't know if it was lining up with sort of the emotional beats of the movie.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Yeah, there's also some convolutedness in the ideas, and it leaves a lot to be desired for the ending as well. So, while I don't think that this is a terrible movie by any metric, I just don't know if it's entertaining enough for you to sit there for 2 hours and watch. And especially with what Mike said, it being so close to what is it called? In Time?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think,
really
yeah,
goofy.
something like that.
Yeah, with it being very close to that concept, I don't know if I could dare say go watch that movie because I think that movie's shitty too. But who knows? Maybe you could watch both. Do a back to back and then compare yourself. There you go.
I do want to say really quick about the voice acting. I totally agree that I think it took me about 20 minutes to put my finger on it. I was like, there's something wrong with the dubbing, and it was making me mad for a minute. And I realized there's a difference. Well, we know this, but in this movie, there's a very big difference between listening to two people stand in a room and talk and somebody speaking on a soundstage.
Yeah, ADR. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think you might be right with that because you don't get the like the surrounding noises and sort of environmental sounds of the dialogue as it would be naturally. You're getting a very crisp, clean ADR.
Right.
Yeah, that doesn't necessarily match.
Everybody laid one track for their dialogue and left it. Like, you gotta layer those things so it sounds. Never mind.
Yeah.
Put some ambience around it. Put it through some filters. I don't know.
Right.
What do I know? I've never done it.
Right. We're just critics. We're not doers here. Yeah, so maybe I'll just give the synopsis and then Keelan, you can sort of navigate us through the minutia of this. But
come on, Magellan, get us there.
There you go. Right, exactly. Take us around the world. The main crux of this story is that we are in some sort of dystopian future where the world now, the highest commodity is time, and there is this company that has figured out a way to exchange time between people. So we get introduced to Max, who works for the company, and the company is called Aeon, I believe.
Yeah.
Eon. And yes, Eon. And he's sort of a time seller or time salesman.
Broker.
A broker. There you go.
Look, he's not a salesman. He makes money, so they call him a broker.
Right. That's true. He does make money. Well, not that much money. We'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
But yes, his whole job is that he goes out to young people mostly and tries to convince them to give up some of their life for the company to sell to rich people. And that's sort of the moral dilemma within the whole movie itself. And so, yeah, Keelan, why don't you start steering us through this one?
Yeah, so we're basically we jump into it. I think the most important thing about the guy we meet, Max, or the guy that we follow through his movie, Max, is seeing his interaction with his client, Dennis. Because this is long before we find out if he has any other clients in this movie that we'll meet or anything like that. We see how he's compassionate, but he's still pushy with Dennis. And he's a company man. Like, he's really the kind of company man that you despise you even let in the house because you realize they charmed you in and now you can't charm them out of your damn house until you buy something. Like, really, that's how he came on. The kids
like a timeshare guy.
Right, a timeshare guy. Some people would probably relegate to an MLM salesman or something like that, which we even get to something that looked very MLM-ish a little later on. After he leaves that, he goes directly to what looks like a MLM style meetup or seminar, or even a small company meetup, because it doesn't have to be an MLM for people to come together and award each other, right? But in this particular situation, he doesn't know he's being awarded Employee of the Year. And
question.
Yeah.
MLM, multi-level marketing, is that what that is?
Yeah.
Okay. For clarity.
Another
no,
question.
but by all means, yeah. Sorry about that.
Another question.
Mm-hmm.
Why would the top broker of this probably multi-trillion-dollar company
Mhm.
not make enough money to afford his apartment?
How about why is wait before we jump too far ahead, because
All right.
I have another question about but because I have another question that falls right in line with what you just asked, right?
Mhm.
And so he gets there though, he finds out he's employee of the year, and I don't know if it's just me, but if you've brokered, what did it say, 276 years in a quarter, not a year, in a
Yes,
quarter.
that's got to
Yes,
be.
to your question, yes, Nick. That how can he not afford it on his own? And how did he not know what the collateral was?
Oh, we're gonna get to that.
Right. That's why I
Why
didn't
is
want to get too deep
Gamora?
into that. So, Mike, we get there. He gets all these things. He has a shake hand with the CEO, and she greets him like she knows him from back in the day. Hey, Max, what's good? Okay, all right.
You're our
Sophie.
very best salesman.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? All right, Sophie, it's good to see you. And a little bit later, after he gives, she gives a speech, and she dreams of a world where everybody can afford to be ageless, and it's like that's not realistic, but okay. A massacre is happening at the same time at their recovery institute,
Mhm.
and after that,
They chose 14 Nobel Peace Prize winners to
Right.
give those, I assumedly however many years they have, because the whole idea behind the society is that there are some people whose life is worth more than others, so they
Mhm.
should be entitled to those lesser's time.
right, wasn't it Beethoven died at 35? What if
Mozart, yeah.
Mozart? Yeah, there we
Mhm.
go. So yeah, we also find out, like Nick said earlier, it's kind of a dystopian world. So it's a really heavily militarized zone that's supposed to be this new paradise, as the movie is called. But after all of that, we see a new personnel of operations kind of introduced after you just saw a mole introduced in your your recovery facility. I don't think new personnel is a good idea at this point. But hey, it's a movie. Here we are. That's what happens
Right.
back there.
Well, it's setting up this idea that the general populace of the planet is not happy with this idea that rich people get to buy years onto their
Right.
life at the expense of poor people.
Right. Stop ageism, they say, which I
Yes.
think has a couple of different meanings in this movie. Yeah. Yeah. But we'll get to that in a minute too. Let's see. So after that, Max meets up with his girlfriend, or his fiance, his wife. Are they married?
I believe they're married.
Yeah, okay. His wife. They talk about having kids and everything, but then we find out that his father-in-law pretty much hates his job, but he doesn't seem to hate Max, and I thought that was interesting. Hate me,
You
don't hate
know,
my job. What my job do to you?
I think I realize now part of why I didn't like the movie.
Oh,
It's that
do
old
go on.
same trope. Well, not fully, but part of it is the idea that the evil corporations is still doing it to the little guy. I live that life on a daily basis. I don't need reminders. I think that's
Yeah.
part of it.
Oh, if you're
I think
looking for any uplifting catharsis, this
Oh, yeah,
movie is not
no.
it. Not it.
No.
Yeah.
It's quite dour.
Very.
Yeah.
Oh,
And I
this
mean the
movie-
idea that rich being richer off of poor people, it's not
Right.
necessarily a new concept. That's kind of how all systems in the world work.
Yeah.
Like all
This
of them.
movie is dreadfully dark.
Is it?
Like but that's what I was about to say. It's dark with no purpose. Like,
Yeah.
you're not like, oh man, I get where they're going with how crazy this is. It's like, okay, so they still win.
Right.
Oh,
And you
could
don't
have
really
been
know if
it
that's
could
how
have
that's
been
gonna go
10
on.
times. I think you're right, Keelan. It is dark without a purpose because I saw several points in the movie that could have gone really dark and they didn't go that route. So
Mhm.
I don't even think that they were intending it for it to be as dour as it was, but there could have been instances where the story took a really drastic
Really
turn and they just
sharp
didn't do
turns.
that. Yeah.
You know what other
Um,
movie this movie reminded me of?
What's that?
City of Men.
Mm-hmm.
mm. Okay.
And then I
Children of-
realized
Children of Men.
Children of Men. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Hmm.
I realized that you just substitute time for water or the ability to have a baby or
Right.
whatever commodity. Put that
Resources
here. And,
scarce.
right. It's the same thing. I think.
Well, yes, it is.
I think that's might be the crux of why I didn't like the movie.
Well,
It's just a
also,
rehash.
I believe that they said that the reason that all of this is happening is global warming.
Right. Oh God. They did
That-
mention that.
And I thought to myself, well, that's a stretch.
That's crazy.
Because we're destroying the planet again. Oh
Right.
gosh.
Yeah. Yeah, because
So, yeah.
in every future world, there's always the same set of problems that we have currently in our system, and nobody's been clever enough to figure them out. Isn't that funny?
No, yeah, we
Nobody-
fly cars. We transfer.
We have
money,
flying
use-
cars. We can exchange youth for money, but we can't fix the climate for some
Nope.
reason.
See, Nick, look at you
God.
trying to play God. That's a God problem.
Yeah, fair enough. You're right. All right, Keelan, get us
So,
back
yeah,
on the
where
rails.
were
here.
we?
Sorry.
It's okay.
No, that's all good.
It's funny.
They want to have kids. Oh, father-in-law. They have young sex, young viral. Ooh,
Oh,
love
God.
on you. I went down on you. Ooh, let me see my boobies.
Right. I like boobies.
I'll say
though,
this
just for the
about
record.
foreign
Unnecessary.
films.
Agreed.
But I will say this about foreign.
I like
films.
butt.
Fair.
Stop
Even
it.
their sex is classy.
I guess.
There was nothing
Wait.
overtly grotesque about it. Like, let's be real.
What do you
If
mean?
this was an American movie, hold on, wait. If this was an American movie, that would have been at least a 4-minute scene, a bunch of sweat and couple of position changing, and 30 seconds. Get to the point. All right, cool. Move on.
I didn't even.
But it
need
was
the 30
completely
seconds.
unnecessary.
Yeah.
I agree. It was unnecessary. No. Actually, it was totally necessary. They were
Why?
setting up something for later.
Well, couldn't we? Oh, yeah. Well, of
Stop
course they
ages.
were. God. Oh, gross. Okay. Yep. Keep
The
going.
geriatrics
Stop
at the,
aging.
at the end.
Don't spoil it. Don't spoil it.
Oh man, that was good. So
All right.
let's see. They have that, and her
Keelan,
father.
you might
doesn't
want
like
to.
her.
You might want to get closer
Too
to your
far.
mic.
Oh man, I feel like I was super close to the mic. I'm messing up over here. Rawr, rawr. My bad. I thought I was super close. Let's see. Oh, they're headed back home after talking to her father and her mother, and he's like, "Hey, you should stand up for me." And I'm like, "It's her dad, bro.
Right.
Yeah. I thought that was weird too.
What are we talking about over here, little man?" Anyway,
Yeah, you should stand up for me sometime. It's like,
Yeah.
exactly. It is her dad. What do you expect? He's
If
gonna
it was her
talk shit,
mom-
and she's gonna keep her mouth shut about it.
right. If it was her mom talking, I would have totally understood what he was talking about. But it was her dad. That's your job to stand up for yourself, my guy.
Mhm.
Or not. Just, take it because it's your father-in-law and you don't want no problems. At least, well, in that moment, he don't want no problems. But yeah. I'm speaking about the wrong people. Forgive me. They get back and they find out their home is burnt down, and it's because Elena left a candle lit. And I'm like, bullshit.
Right.
I thought it was because he didn't finish cooking dinner because they decided.
That's
to
what
have
I thought.
sex. They had decided to have sex while he was cooking
And
dinner.
then they just left. That's
I
what
forgot
thought,
all
Nick.
about
I'm
that.
glad I'm not the only one.
That's how you ruin a perfectly good meal. What are you guys doing?
Listen,
This is bad scheduling.
the food needs 7 minutes to finish. You could do it. Hey, listen here. Go.
You
Hey.
know what?
That was big.
I have feelings about that too.
Look here, lady. Ask you shit.
7 minutes. I got stuck on that.
So their apartment burns down and they lose all their money and find out that they have to pay $2.5 million because that's how much they're. What the fuck? Did I miss
First of
something in that
all,
apartment? I
when
rewound.
When
I'm
would
looking
that
for an apartment.
ever be possible? I mean, when would that ever be necessary? He has a steady job. She has a steady job. They could continue paying their apartment mortgage and
LA
just go get it.
condo.
And they were talking about getting a second house anyway.
Bro, right. I was about to say that too. They were just talking about getting a second place,
Because the
Yeah.
guy had a crush on her.
which I thought was also weird. I forgot he said that. He has a
Right.
crush on you, doesn't he? Think about it. House by the river.
So
What,
you
bro?
pimping your wife out now?
But the point is that he could afford another house.
Yeah.
They could have just paid the mortgage on the burnt down apartment if because the whole idea is, now the
Oh.
bank wants all of their money up front, but you don't have that money, so your collateral is going to be taken from you.
Well, right. Remember they said all their money was in the house, which doesn't make sense. Why isn't your money in the bank?
Well, I think that he meant that all of the money that all of their assets were tied up in that apartment, right?
Oh,
So
yeah, that makes sense.
any equity
Well,
they had
technically
was
condo.
Yeah, it
Because
was
it's
an
different. It's somehow different.
Somehow.
$2.5 million for an apartment. You must be outside of your mind.
I thought it was
Honestly.
upstate New York.
I don't care where it is. What?
I don't know what
You can
side
have a
of New York is
ranch
the
for
good
that
side.
much money.
That's how much it costs to live in Los Santos.
I figured that's how much it costs to buy 1 50 cents houses.
No,
Clearly
that's
not.
just a guest house.
Yeah,
50
I said
cent.
one of.
That's just the add-on that he put onto his property.
Yeah, I said one of. I
Yeah.
could be on a subsidiary property for that much. That's how I figured. That's where I figured they live in for that much. Yeah. So everything burns down, and come to find out, Elena has put up her life years, 38 of them things, $2.5 million, so that they could keep this home. And I'm
And
trying to
since
figure
when
out.
do you need collateral to get a mortgage?
That was one. My second question would be, why would she be the only one who put it on the apartment if he was making all the money?
Yeah, and she had a shitty nursing job that they clearly say in the movie.
No. Doctor.
Doctor
Yeah,
job.
she was a
Doesn't
shitty
matter.
doctor.
She had a terrible job that didn't pay her very well.
Because
Crazy.
she works at a free clinic, I think.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So she decides that she's going to collateralize 40 years of her life to get a loan
Crazy.
on a
she
$2
not-
million house that they can't afford, apparently, even though the guy is the top employee at this Aon company.
Mhm.
Right. And he doesn't know about it, remember?
Yeah, he knows nothing.
Yes, he doesn't know how they secured the loan, even though he would have had to been integral in the loan process because he makes
Right.
more money.
Yeah.
This is making me hate the movie more. I thought we were going to turn Mike around. He's turning us.
Let me turn this thing around, mister. So
Dang
yeah. Then the police pick her up as soon as they leave their lawyer so she doesn't flee the country. And this is when things really start to get crazy because Max goes and he asks Sophie for some help. And Sophie goes, send me your documents. And I'm like, you mean I have my people call your people? Word?
My employee paperwork for the company that you own?
Because,
Right.
ma'am.
Like my
Do you
HR
not have-
papers?
Yeah, do you not have access to that stuff? Because out of anybody, you really should.
That's when you say straight up.
That's
"Excuse
disturbing."
me, madam, but I know when I'm being played with every day. But he
I said
did not
good day.
do that.
And the moment I saw Sophie was old, I said, "Oh, she's going to steal somebody's soul."
Somebody's. Oh, you saw Shang Tsung in her eyes.
I mean,
Mhm.
there's a 70-year-old woman at the head of a company that takes people's youth from them.
I was trying to figure out what was going on there too. Like, why is she 20?
But we find out in the board meeting that she has actually a genetic defect that makes
Yeah.
matching for her very difficult.
Very difficult. Unless you have some genetic disposition. So what made you create this to start with? I
For
started
real.
this to help my Lucy. How did this help Lucy?
It didn't.
It didn't.
Because, well, see,
Yeah,
well,
where's it going? You got a theory.
Got-
Say that theory for a minute.
okay.
But so yeah, in that board meeting, you even find out that essentially she's not the most liked person because she spends about $32 billion, billion euro in philanthropy to challenge people with the disposition that she has and find a genetic precursor to help them. Like, hold on now. This is
Expand the
really just for
research.
you.
Yeah.
Like, that's all. And people mad because she's biased towards it because she has it. And it's like, ain't it her company? That I didn't get. Like, who are you, little lady over there in the corner arguing with me? But then you find out so many of them also have already had procedures, including her bodyguard, who's 64, but looks like she's like 27.
Right. Yeah. And well, you know, when you go public, you have a board, and then all of a sudden you as the owner of the company aren't the
Yeah.
decision maker anymore. So
Yeah.
although it didn't really matter because the board scene was one scene and then they're never brought up again, and she still
Nope.
has all of the power that she
The
needs
power. She's young, so
With a private army.
with a private army. Yeah.
right. She's young, so nobody gonna bother her now. It's because she was
She's
aging. That was the problem.
kind of young. She's
Hey.
kind of young. 40 years didn't do a whole lot for her, huh?
She went from a whole 70-year-old Caucasian woman to a 40-year-old Latina. I think they're
Yes.
gonna let
Damn.
it pass.
Yes.
Damn.
Yes, her look definitely changed, that's for sure.
I'm like, so I'm pretty sure they're gonna let her stay around for a while. Mike silly as
Hey.
hell. But essentially Max runs, so he wants to see his wife. He brings the lawyer, and you find out, oh, she got 2 hours to her procedure. You can't see her, big dog. You gotta wait till it's all over, because you know that's how this goes down. And he runs and he gets to the back, and he gets Rambo sliced up by the arm by one dude, and then security goes, "If you make one move, my man's gonna hurt you." Ma'am, he is already hurting me. That man was in so much pain, he was going into shock.
Right.
He went on himself. My man's gonna hurt you. Do you not?
You already have me in an arm bar. What else can
Right.
you
He was foaming at the mouth, Nick.
Flashback to childhood. What do you think you doing now?
Honestly, where the hell is the government?
They are
What's
the
that?
government.
I mean, for real though, like, because there is like no governing body that is introduced at all.
Yeah, that part actually.
Well, don't you know corporations are going to rule the world in the future?
Oh,
Dystopian
That's what I
futures?
figured they were getting at.
Oh,
It's
what
like
a
a
poignant
Futurama
commentary!
situation.
Wow.
So
How
maybe we're
Yeah.
in Futurama. We didn't know.
You mean Global Corp? Global Corp?
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see.
So they suck the life out of the wife.
Yeah, they sucked the life out of the wife, and my thoughts there were, what if they take more years than they assume?
How would you know?
How
Yeah.
would you know?
Interestingly,
And-
too, they take the life out. They suck the life out of her as soon as she decides to have a child.
Right.
Well, that's my
And
my
you know what?
tinfoil's on a little too tight that one.
That's where I was kind of concerned at that point in the movie. I was like, so if she's pregnant right now, does that mean that
Extra
if they
years.
take life force from her, that it takes life force from the baby too?
Mm.
And if so,
Basically.
would that be legal or would that be problematic?
Well, see, I'm surprised.
And then it was like,
didn't-
oh, it happens.
I'm surprised they
okay.
didn't go the route. Oh, well, I'm pregnant, so if you wait 9 months, I'll give you my child's 40 years.
Oh wow.
I thought that's the direction they were going to go, to be honest.
That's dark.
Yeah, see, could have gone darker.
I didn't think about that one.
I did. I kind of did, but didn't. I was more concerned with it, still being in her. Would that be them stealing from the baby's life as well as from her life at the same time?
Well,
and if there would be
obviously,
some
yes.
kind of a precaution, but yeah, they just killed the baby like fuck it.
Mhm.
Like, oh, okay. My bad.
Yep.
Right.
Yes, because now she's 70 years old and pregnant. She has a miscarriage, obviously.
Right.
Yeah.
Damn.
No question there. That was like, oh, that makes sense.
Nope.
But she was definitely already in her 30s.
Was she?
they're
I wasn't.
like-
I
they're
was
like-
curious, but I
They're
wasn't
like
sure.
right at 32, 31.
Right. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So Max gets his wife after the procedure, and this was actually my first time I thought Sophie has to be her match. Like, it just makes too much sense. The police can't watch the procedure because she's forcibly sedated. Max takes her home, and daily she starts to age. But Max starts to see this little kid who's a dope dealer, and um, eventually he goes and he sees Sophie is getting younger, and he's like, "Hold on now, oh shoot, that's why you didn't want to help me." Ah, so he goes to love on Elena when she gets home, and she gets upset and says,
We
This
can't do
ain't
this
gonna work.
anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, this ain't gonna work. I gotta go. And we didn't find out that she had a miscarriage and all of that good junk. And she wants to go live with her parents. She wants out.
Yeah.
In that moment, we see Max become a vigilante assassin. And a terrible one, but we'll get to that in a minute. I actually appreciated that there was this moment where in my mind I'm like, oh, so he just all of a sudden he went from salesman to the most militant dude you've seen in a long time, getting guns and passports and ready
But
to
it's
do
very
his
important. It's very important that he can't fight for shit the entire movie.
Yes.
entire movie.
At
Even-
least they
I
were
love that they
consistent
maintained
about
that.
that. At least they were consistent.
Yeah, I love
Right.
that they maintained that.
He still got beat up towards the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got beat up by the girl at the cemetery.
Tragedy.
Yeah, he did immediately. Yeah.
So you also see that Lilith is being interviewed, and she's talking about the corruption that Eon is a part of. We also see Max continue to follow Sophie, and he follows her to a cemetery, and she's not gray-haired anymore. Now she's a full-on, tiny, skinny little brunette. And I thought to myself, I don't
She
know,
was a
buddy.
blonde.
I thought to myself, I don't know, buddy. But he goes and he sneaks up and he smacks her upside the head, tases her, and kidnaps Sophie.
Yes.
That was the best
He
part.
thinks it's Sophie.
You forgot the wrinkle of him talking to the child drug dealer, getting the info about the illegal clinics that are helping people steal other people's time.
Yeah.
So that's what he wants to do. He wants to kidnap Sophie and take Sophie to Lithuania, where there will be this sort of black market doctor that does the procedure to give his wife back the time.
Yeah, I actually forgot about that. I didn't forget about it, but I had lost.
We kind of glossed over it.
Yeah. So he makes that call. He picks her up, kidnaps her, goes to the hospital because Elena is working, and basically lets her know, "Hey, yo, let's rock. Like, I got this covered. Let's do it." And he's a whole different person now, and he's taking her years back and letting her know that it's her time. But they got to go to Lithuania, and they got to do it now. But then, eventually you realize that is not Sophie. That's not Sophie Thiessen. It's her daughter.
I kind of liked that they were playing with that ambiguity. I kind of wish that they had, I don't know, not done the, it's actually the daughter thing. I would have liked them to have believed that it was the daughter and then find out that it was Sophie the entire time.
That would have been kind of cool. But I think it sets us finding out that that's the daughter early, sets up a couple of other things to happen later. And it sets the emotion tempo for it.
Moral dilemma.
Yeah, exactly. So let's see. They kidnap Marie because that's what we find out very quickly. And at a certain point, Max don't care. He like, hey, we just gonna get these years. Whichever Thiessen we take it from, or Tyson we take it from, that's the one we take it from.
Right. I'm okay with that.
His logic was sound. Her mother, he thinks that, okay, even if it is the daughter, the mother will just find her more time. And reverse the whole process.
But also at this point, Elena's starting to think, what if the doctor originally was a scam and they just needed money and you got duped? But they end up finding a hotel that's empty. And, Max is a good guy. He lets Marie go ahead and shower and clean herself. And she smacks him upside the head with a hammer.
Almost immediately.
I was confused on why she took her pants off first. Because he wasn't
I think to get him to turn around.
No, I get that. But he wasn't watching her.
No, she could have put her pants back on while his back was turned for sure.
Right. But she hits him and she runs, takes his phone, but she ends up in the sludge of quicksand. And luckily, Elena's there to save her.
It's always
And
quicksand, man.
it's always quicksand.
You got
Don't
to be
forget the
careful.
quicksand. No, remember, it's always quicksand and rabies. And if we
Yeah.
can't
That's right.
figure out one of those two things, guess what it is?
Plot.
Plot.
Dun, dun, dun.
That'll be a shirt someday. Quicksand, rabies, and plot.
But yeah, Elena ends up saving her, and she sees that Marie doesn't have a scar while she's showering, so she knows for sure now it's the daughter. And that's when they go and take a nap, and they are now kidnapped by the Adam Group themselves.
Not before they have passionate sex.
Oh yeah, ageism.
Geriatrics.
Look at me. I was committing ageism there because I totally blanked that out of my head. Yeah, so he couldn't have sex with her when they were at home, but when the kid has to listen to him from the bathtub,
Yes. That
Yeah,
really
but
got
I
their
have sex.
motors running. Yeah.
Right. They
Yeah.
had an audience.
Did you see her how freaked she was? Like she was. Oh
She
my
was not
God.
happy about that.
Oh my God. Oh.
That's what you call torture.
Yeah, big time. Yes, so they have sex with the kidnapped child in the bathroom, which is
Yeah, far out of eyesight, but she can hear him.
troublesome. You start to wonder, who am I supposed to root for in this movie?
Nobody. Like I started wondering. All right, is this movie? This movie is getting way too weird for me. Because if I'm honest, when he had to follow the little drug dealing kid, that's when I was like, "Hey, bro, don't stalk that little kid. I don't care if we do know they got a procedure that's really an adult."
Right. Yeah, it's bad optics.
Super bad. That don't look right. Which is the reason they became.
And then she
kids.
pulls out a cigarette.
Yeah.
Right. Shoot, out of pocket.
Honey boo boo looking ass.
Yeah.
See, and this, you know what? And you just gave me a awful thought.
Mm.
Is this movie the way they blur the lines between an adult having
Yes.
with a, and then
I think this
yeah.
movie is something
Stuff.
has some trafficking undertones and a lot of those other things
Well,
that kind of fall in that.
right, especially when you get that scene when they're in Lithuania and they get that tourist bus full of
From the refugee camp.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
It
that falls
definitely,
into the.
go
Well,
ahead.
really quick, that falls into the comment that happened earlier when they were saying that parents from the refugee camps sell their kids youth so that they can get out of the camps.
Right. Yeah. It definitely creates a world where all of that shit could definitely happen.
And then they do mention that they can, I guess they can still take it from the bodies too when they're dead.
What? I missed that.
That was an implication. Like, what do you? He said, "What about the ones that are dead or the dead bodies that are on the bus still?" The comment the guards were having.
I thought you said the people still on the bus. I didn't know they were dead.
There were some that were dead.
Oh, I didn't see that.
So
that's crazy. Look, you just wow, buddy. Hey, buddy.
Yeah. Because
so
because yeah.
Right. So anyway, we get there. Lilith and the Adam Group has kidnapped Marie and the Thomas, which would be, Elena and Max. And we find out that Victor, the bodyguard, is also Judas, the mole.
He looks like Judas.
He did look like Judas. But they have a small army and the bodyguard, and they're all on their way to save Marie. But next thing you know, Lilith starts breaking down all of the coincidences for Max on how he and Elena ended up in this little situation. From him meeting Elena back when, he was supposed to convince her to give up her life way back. Like, how long they known each other all that time from that very first day. But instead he married her. And that created a problem. So they had to make this man employee of the year, know where he living, get all of his information, burn his stuff down, set the collateral up a certain way so that when Sophie was ready, she can collect. And that's what happened.
Yeah. This commits one of the cardinal sins of cinema, which is show don't tell. This tells and does not show.
Right.
So yes, the whole monologue from Lilith about how this was all Sophie's very elaborate ruse to get the 40 years from Max's wife.
There's no proof.
I mean, I guess it's fine. It kind of closes up some of the logical inconsistencies as to like, okay, why was it her? What happened to the apartment? I guess that's fine. But still, when it comes down to it, and even characters in the movie say, like, why did they take 40 years collateral for an apartment?
Yeah, it's too
Yeah.
much. But that was
Yeah.
why Lilith went on her explanation rant, because it's like it's not supposed to make sense. They just took what they wanted to.
Yeah, I mean that's to suggest that Max's wife is the only person in the world with from a company that probably has maybe I'd say $500 billion worth of power behind it. She's the only person in the world that would match with Sophie.
That's what they did. That's what they said. That's what they asked. What Lilith actually said was the case, that she was the only person to ever match with her ever.
Well, but we know that that's not really true because she's got a daughter.
Two daughters.
She has two daughters,
right?
And that goes into what Mike's theory was. Go ahead, Mike.
I was wondering because they said her daughter, her other daughter dies of progeria. Was the daughter actually just sacrificed?
Is that when you look old when you're really young?
Yeah, when you look like a little Hans Moleman.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, maybe she did sacrifice, but that would suggest that maybe she's much older than she looks.
Why wouldn't she be?
Well, but then she has like a 20-year-old daughter.
Is she 20?
I mean, I'm assuming Marie's in her 20s.
I think they were trying to put her in her like early 20s, yeah.
Oh, okay, because I thought she was a teen.
I mean, she could be. Okay, let's go 16 to 21.
Okay.
That's probably within the 5 years.
In that range. Maybe 16 to 20.
And the other daughter's
been dead for a while, you would think.
Right.
And
Probably
Sophie's
before.
like in her 70s. So she had Marie when she was 50?
Right.
Why not?
Yes, maybe.
But when she was 50, what was her body?
And if she didn't have any matches outside of her children, that's why she would go after this woman.
Her children aren't matches because she ain't giving up her youth for her own kids. But we find that out a little bit later.
I know that's kind of the point I was kind of making, which made me wonder that question: did her daughter actually have progeria, or did she just get sucked dry?
I think she must have gotten sucked dry because the implication is that Sophie could give Marie the time back, which means that Marie could have given Sophie the youth.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And Sophie also offers,
and she could always have more kids.
True.
Right. She also offers $10 million to Max to kind of just, we'll forget all of this. I give you $10 million, you can go start a new life.
Yeah, right.
And he's like, that's not how that works. Like,
you have a personal army. You think I'm like what?
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
You think I'm gonna get out of here without any? Okay.
Something's happening.
No repercussions.
Okay, super villain number one.
Yeah.
Well, even more so, he convinces her to go inside the building with him. And the bodyguard goes, well, how did you know that Sophie would be here? And I'm like, easy answer. I didn't. But no,
right.
I didn't, but it is her daughter.
Right.
Yeah, that was dumb because that was an easy answer. Well, because it's her daughter that was taken. Why wouldn't she be here?
I knew he wasn't going to have an answer because they had clicked over to, come on, say something, you idiot. And it's like, why would he not say something? Like, what are y'all talking about?
Yeah, that's just because the deal had to go south before they could.
Right.
Yeah.
Like a dope deal.
And I was like, why would he shoot her and blow his cover when they could have just shot her from cover and just
easily?
They didn't even know they were there for whatever reason.
Yeah, they could have just lit up the entire row of people. I mean, they would have gotten shot at back it, but you know, like they could have taken out the head security lady, the Judas
Right.
guy, and Sophie.
Right. They
And
had
he
no
would have,
e-
and he could have kept his cover because they would have actively not aimed at him.
Mhm.
Right.
And him knowing that they were there, they would have not. He would have pretended to shoot in their general vicinity, so he wouldn't have shot any of his own people.
Lilith is a
So-
terrible tactician. She's not a good tactician.
Well,
like the Flag Smashers.
Yeah, exactly like the Flag Smashers. I was thinking the exact same thing. Yeah.
Hey, it all comes full circle.
It does indeed.
But so yeah, the guard asks him how to know. The whole firefight ensues. Sophie gets shot, and you know she's out the game. Max and Elena and Marie are all headed out the back, but then Marie pulls a gun on Elena, and Elena smashes her head into the truck.
where
And
did
that's
she
when we
get the gun
realize
from?
No idea.
It didn't matter. It wasn't loaded.
No, exactly.
And now Elena wants to take her life back, but Max doesn't. So she kicked that fool from the car.
As she should.
Oh my god, that bugged me. I'm like, okay, 10 minutes left in the movie, and now you're changing
he
your
has to change
mind,
her heart.
dude. You
Yeah.
spent the last hour and 40 minutes convincing her to do this.
Kidnapping people. all
And now
kinds
that
of shit.
she's 10 toes down, you're like, I don't know, babe. Maybe we
I
should
mean-
just not do this.
The little girl was about to blow her noodles out, so yeah, she gonna
Man.
change her mind. Like, oh, this where we at? Oh, this what you
Yeah.
gonna do?
Yeah,
Right.
Well, come here, you little mother. Take this.
here's what your mother put me through.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So
so
all of
she
that
takes
made
him out
sense.
of the car, and then he just starts walking somewhere.
Yeah, he just roams and ends up finding the refugee camp, whilst she goes and finds the doctor and gets the procedure done. So the doctor and the assassin that we saw at the very beginning are the same, which to me makes sense because that's how he gets his supplies when he goes and
And
kills
he's eliminating the competition.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So let's see. We find out Sophie is alive.
Dun
Yes.
dun dun.
But we also
Which
find
would
out-
have changed Max's mind, and he would have gone through with it, because the only reason he decides that he doesn't want to do this anymore is because he thinks Sophie's dead.
Right.
And so that if they take the life from Marie, then Sophie wouldn't be there to try to give it back to Marie at some point.
Exactly. But that's not the case. The case really is Sophie is
Bulletproof
alive.
vest, baby. Anytime you see somebody get shot in the chest, that's a bulletproof vest.
Every time.
Every time. Every
And
time.
it was like 4 shots to the chest, which I was like, all right, hold on now. That's a strong
Yeah,
Two
dude,
holes.
he was 5 feet away from this woman. He could put one in the head,
Put one
honestly,
between the eyes.
at least.
Man, you supposed to do 2 in the computer and 1 in the heart.
Yeah. Well, no, she got 3 shots to the chest. And luckily not in the same grouping,
Right.
because that would have interfered with the integrity of the Kevlar. So very, very convenient.
Let's see. Silly as heck. Oh, Max is a roamer now until he finds the refugee camp, and the bodyguard decides she's not gonna work for Sophie anymore. She don't want to sabotage people and kill people and burn shit down and hunt people. That's not her thing no more.
She grows a conscience out of nowhere.
Yawn.
You can
Yeah.
blame Judas for that,
Judas was a double agent.
right? So I don't
Right.
understand why she all of a sudden wanted to take cues from him.
I don't know either.
Because she
Because
fell
he
in
di-
love.
Because he died with his fingers crossed.
Right.
So
Yeah.
he died for what he believed in.
Because he was grounded again.
Ridiculous.
Damn it.
So the movie sets up this sort of cliffhanger of we don't know if Max's wife actually takes the life from Marie.
Oh, she does.
No,
Oh,
I know
she
we
definitely
do.
did.
but- I know we do. I know, but the movie sets it up as if we don't know.
Oh,
and
right,
we only
right,
find
right.
Out,
Oh,
we only
immediately,
find
yes.
out when Sophie goes or Marie goes back home.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And then we see
Sophie-
that she's aged 40 years.
Right. She's aging, and she's still aging. She ain't done yet, look like. And
Mhm.
Sophie refuses to give her any years because she has to be young and strong and viral to attack this problem.
Yeah, I promise
Oh.
I'll find somebody for you. Don't worry
'Cause-
about it.
Yeah, she says, I'm not a donor. Mom, if I was a donor for this lady, then I'm definitely a donor for you.
Yep.
Right. Don't worry. We'll
But-
just tell people it's progeria.
That's right.
The fact that they could take it from Marie is a clear indication that Sophie
she's
is
the daughter.
also compatible.
Mm-hmm.
They're all
Yeah.
three. They could just share the years back and forth.
Yep.
Just spread them around. But then we find out that Elena is pregnant. She's young. She's remarried. And Max runs the Atom Group, or at least a section of the Atom Group, because he's riding shotgun. And,
Oh no, but
figured
not
he said-
not until we find out that his wife has a new man and she's pregnant, and he watches her from a hill.
from a distance, I thought they was about to head down the hill and go and lay them down. Honestly.
I thought the
I
exact
did
same
too.
thing.
I
Why
did too.
didn't? Why did they not do that?
Soft.
Yep. Soft.
SOF capital T. Soft.
I'm about that life until it's the girl that left me for another dude, got pregnant with another dude.
You gonna kick me out the car after I put all this together.
Right.
Gonna get young and then let another dude put it in you? No.
I'm basically an international terrorist now because I wanted to get my wife her years back.
Well,
And
well,
that-
you know what
Hey.
they say. Modern day women deserve modern
Uh,
day solutions.
I guess.
Wow. Yeah. They do say that though.
I don't
Hey.
understand. I don't understand what that was about, to be honest. And then he makes some like sort of rousing speech about how he's going to go fight the power, and they're headed over to Aeon as if they're going to go do something.
I could be wrong, but it looks like he is now the powers that be.
I mean, yeah. Well, he's the head of the Atom Group, right?
He's the new Adam because Lilith definitely got laid down.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now he's going to go terrorize Aeon. Even does he doesn't know Sophie's still alive, right?
He probably
I
knows
guess not,
now.
no. I'm sure he knows by now,
Nah.
yeah.
Paradise 2, guys. Paradise.
Oh, that's
2.
what
Ah.
Yep.
he's gonna think that it's Marie running the company until he finds out Sophie's still alive. Got it.
Right.
Touche.
Stanley?
Mm-hmm.
All right, but yeah,
Exactly.
that's pretty much it for this movie. I know pretty much that is it for this movie. Max is running the group now, or he's part of the Atom Group, locked and loaded, and everybody else is alive too. Nobody died except for Judas.
Yes.
and Lilith. Or whatever her name was.
No, Lilith is alive. Oh, Lilith is dead. You're right.
That
She caught that
headshot.
caliber to the eyeball.
Right. You
But
know, I didn't like this movie by the first 30 minutes.
All right. Well, then let's get our last
go. Yeah, let's see.
our last thoughts and then our verdict here. And there's Keelan, are you wearing headphones, man?
No, I am not.
I swear I hear myself through your microphone.
That is plausible.
Yes. All right. You want to go first? Who wants to go first?
I can run it first. So
Do it.
I mean, do it. This movie was, but it was, and I'm still not sure how to talk about it.
It's Dookie Snacks.
It sucks, I guess, if I don't know how to phrase it. But I don't think it sucks. I really don't. But I also I feel like where Nick usually is with some movies, where it's like you didn't finish the story before you started recording, and then you had to just rush it at the end, and I don't like that. But that's pretty much the biggest critique about this movie. It wasn't impressive in any way. The concepts were probably the most impressive things, but they're not original, so you can't really be impressed with something that's not original. With that being said, I would not watch this more than once, but I could understand if there are people who really enjoy this movie, honestly.
Are you going to give a rating?
Oh, snap. So
Yeah.
with that, I'm going to give this a 4.
Okay.
Fair
That's-
enough.
That's fair enough. Mike?
I came into this with the conclusion that I didn't like it, and I think I realized why. It was supposed to be a comedy, and it just wasn't a very good comedy
Oh,
because
okay. I'm
some of
about
the
to say
stuff
where.
was just shenanigans. I did again. I just go over the same tropes that I went over in the beginning, and it just you guys made me kind of just double down that I just didn't like it. And I don't know if it was terrible or not. I just know I didn't like it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think it has potential to be better. Like if they did some more work on the story, and maybe it's like what Keelan said. They started recording before they had a chance to finish it out.
Mm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't like most of it. I didn't like how soft and sensitive he was, even though he was kind of trying to be like this manly man. I didn't like the sensitivity of it towards the end. I thought you spent this entire movie advocating for this woman, and then at the end, it's like, let's not do this. Like, what? People are dead now.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I didn't care for it, but I have to be fair. I mean, it's not an awful movie. I just didn't like it.
Mm-hmm.
So to be fair, I have to stick with Keelan on this one and give it a 4.
Fair enough. Yeah. I might have liked it a little bit better, but not by much, to be honest. I think that the concept is pretty interesting. There was just some suspenseful parts. I did like the scene where they had to sort of like cross the checkpoint with the kidnapped Marie. I thought that was okay. It was pretty suspenseful. But yeah, there's a lot of convolutedness to the story and sort of like you sort of have to force things to fit that probably could have fit if you fleshed out the story a little bit more. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a 4.5, but I think I'm where you guys are at. It's not awful, but I don't know if I'm a big fan of it either. So,
Right.
4.5.
That's fair.
Indeed. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's pretty solid across the board. So that
Yeah.
gives us. Wait, what did you have, Mike? I'm sorry.
4.
4.2. Okay, so yeah, that gives us a 12.5 out of 30. About a guess what? 4.1, 4.2.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not worth doing the extra math. I'm just like, it's not.
Another Netflix
Man. I'll
You
say
know.
this though. It feels like 2012 Netflix again, at least.
Yes, at least there's that. There is
Yeah.
a little
So
bit
there's a positive.
yes, at least we're not complaining about it because of its, well, although there were some current day commentary. Yeah.
Well, you
But-
got to be social, Nick. How do you talk about social commentary without being social?
Right. My favorite line is that the Baltic states collapsed because they left the European Union.
Right.
Because that's a reason for state that
You can't
I'm
sustain
just-
on your own. Stay
Okay,
here.
buddy. Okay.
At
Don't
least
kick
it
back.
wasn't woke.
Yeah.
At least it wasn't that.
Yeah.
I can give him that. I can give him that much credit.
Oh, yeah,
There was no. I don't recall any identity politics.
That's probably a better word for it.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
because there are some, I would say, normie takes. How about that? This isn't normie. That's what we're gonna say from now on.
Okay.
This isn't normie.
Yeah.
Right.
There's only a few normie takes on this. So, yeah.
That's
All right.
a fair point.
Yeah.
With that being said, yeah, this is that's all the words I have for this one. Nothing to add to it.
Cool beans.
Wow, you've never been that short.
Boo.
It just wasn't divisive enough for us to talk more about it. I think that's
Right.
what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all right. Okay, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. Hope that you enjoyed this episode. Let us know what you thought about Paradise. Did you like it? If you did, let us know why. If you didn't,
Yeah.
let us know why. We would love to hear from you. Please consider giving us a thumbs up and a subscription. It would really help us out. We're trying to build our YouTube audience, and we can't do it without your help. So thank you to everybody who's subscribed so far. We really appreciate all of you out there. We're here every Wednesday and Sunday, normally at 8:30, but you can always expect us between 8:30 and 9ish. If you want to check out what we have on our archive, we have a list of podcasts that we do here, right? Yeah. And you can check out If Numbers Could Talk, Screen Time Continuum. You're already here. And then go over to Twitch and check out King_of_Ilion. That's Mike. He's streaming on Twitch all the time.
Every
So
day,
make sure-
all
every
the
day.
time.
Yeah, so make sure that you hit that notification and that subscription button. You can also check out Dijon over there at Strawberries and Coffee on Twitch. We also have Exofathom on Friday night and This Married Moment on Saturday mornings. All of those podcasts have archives. Mike goes live every day. So if you're missing us, you can go check those out. All right, guys. I think that's it, right?
That's it.
That's
it.
it. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, guys. We really appreciate it. Hope that you have a wonderful evening or whenever you're checking us out. For Screen Time Continuum, I am Nick.
I am Keelan.
And I'm Mike.
I almost said I was Mike, but that's never been my name.
Why?
I don't know.
Oh, this is Patrick.